Welcome to lesson 2 of Introduction to Tapping. I hope you've been practicing your tapping and staying well hydrated. Grab a glass of water if you haven't already. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the science of tapping and the clinical protocol or method of tapping that is used for all of the gold standard scientific studies that have been done to learn about the effectiveness of EFT tapping. I will then introduce you to some more tapping points on the body, and we will do a full round of tapping using the clinical protocol. As I mentioned in lesson 1, tapping is a process of stimulating acupressure points on the body to send a calming signal to the brain. It supports the flow of vital energy throughout the body. Some people like to refer to tapping as acupuncture without the needles, as it is based similarly around the meridian system of the body as developed by traditional Chinese medical theory. What we know about the meridian or acupoints on the body is that they are believed to be more sensitive to touch. These are points on what is the meridian system, essentially an energetic communication highway throughout the body. And by activating these points, tapping sends a message that slows activity in the amygdala, part of our brain's arousal pathway, which has a calming effect. And when we're calm, we have more energy to solve problems and shift our mindset. Now I want to introduce you to some more tapping points. On day 1, we tapped on the side of the hand, and today we are going to tap a full round starting on the top of the head. You can use both hands to tap or just one hand. And if you're unable to access any of these new points, you can just imagine that you are tapping on them or stick to one point that feels comfortable for you. Okay, you may want to write down these points so you can refer back to them later. So grab something to write with if you haven't already. Otherwise, I will list the points below. Okay, so the first point is top of the head, right in the center on the crown. You can tap with both hands or one, tapping at the same time or alternating. Some people even like to tap around in a circle on the top of the head. The next point is the eyebrow, which is just above the eyebrow, but towards the inside of the face. And you can tap with one hand or two hands. I usually use 2 fingers here. The next is the side of the eye. This is on the outside of the eye, close to the eye. Not quite as far back, but near the temple. And I use 2 fingertips on this point. The next point is below the eye, again, pretty close to the eye. And you may want to tap a little more gently on this point. You can use 1 finger or 2. You can tap this way with the side of your finger if you have long fingernails. And I'm going to keep my glasses on throughout the course, but make sure that you're sticking pretty close to the eye there. The next point is below the nose. And I usually use the side of my finger here, but you can use 1 or 2 fingers, however you like. The next point is below the bottom lip, also called the chin point. I usually use the side of my finger here. The next point are the collarbones. And you can use 1 or 2. I like using 2 hands here because it feels very powerful. I tend to alternate, but you can tap at the same time. You can use the tips of your fingers if you like, whatever feels good for you. And the next point is under the arm. So this is about 4 inches below your armpit on what is the side seam of your shirt. And I tend to tap with the side of my hand here, but you can also use your fingers. You can reach around and tap with your whole hand on the side. You can use both hands, whatever you prefer. All right. And then from there, you would go back up to the top of the head according to the clinical protocol. And I'll run through these points again quickly, but remember, you can use 1 finger or 2, 3, both hands, side of the hand, alternating. There really is no getting it wrong, and tapping at a pace and a pressure that feels good to you. As I mentioned in the last lesson, that could be a pressure that's similar to how you might tap someone on the shoulder in a pace that's about double a resting heart rate. But faster or slower is just fine as well. This is really all about you and what feels good in the moment. So if you're feeling good, maybe you're feeling energized, you may tap faster than you would on a day where maybe you're feeling overstimulated and you need to slow it down. Okay. Again, top of the head, right in the center of the crown, eyebrow point, side of the eye, under the nose, chin, collarbones, and under the arm. Some practitioners also use points at the top of the ribs and the two wrists together. All right. Tapping is very effective on its own, but it's even more powerful when we use it while we're talking through a topic, setting intentions and inviting in compassion with our specific language. Let's talk more about the clinical protocol for tapping, or the specific process that is used in tapping research studies. Tapping has been scientifically shown in gold standard studies around the world again and again to help reduce anxiety, post-traumatic stress, general trauma and stress, depression, pain, insomnia. It's been shown to improve memory, eating disorders, and many other issues. It's becoming more widely used in conjunction with traditional therapy in schools, and as I mentioned in lesson 1, it's approved for use by many government agencies around the world. We've even seen it being introduced to incarcerated populations, which is having a profound effect, a profound healing effect for those people. It's so beautiful. Okay, here are the basics of clinical EFT tapping, or the clinical protocol. The first step is rating yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. That's the SUD scale, or subjective units of distress, that I introduced you to in lesson 1. The second step is begin to tap on the side of the hand with a foundational statement that you have created based on the topic of your tapping. And that statement will be, even though, fill in the blank, I accept myself. So for example, even though I am experiencing anxiety, I accept myself. Even though I am experiencing anxiety, I accept myself. And repeating that statement while tapping on the side of the hand 3 times to bring you into the energy of the issue that you want to tap on. It's a way of getting activated. Tapping researcher Dr. Peta Stapleton says, there is a saying in psychotherapy that you can't change a personal quality unless you first accept it. And this pairing of your problem with an acceptance statement helps build that self-acceptance. After repeating that foundational statement 3 times, you will then tap through all of the tapping points with an abbreviated statement or short reminder phrases. So for example, all of this anxiety, feeling anxiety, all of this anxiety. And then you will rate yourself again on the 0 to 10 SUD scale and repeat the tapping until your stress level drops significantly or your symptoms decrease. So to review, the clinical protocol, you start by rating your distress, repeating the foundational statement of acceptance 3 times while tapping on the side of the hand. Then you do a complete full round of tapping with short reminder phrases, rate yourself, and then repeat as needed. Okay, want to try this together? All right, I'm going to use some general statements here around stress, but you can insert whatever feeling or emotion you're experiencing in your own words, whether that is about stress, anxiety, pain, whatever topic you want to tap on today. Okay, let's start by taking a big sip of water. Okay. And rate your level of distress, whatever your level of distress is today, on a scale of 0 to 10, depending on the topic. With 0 being everything is great, and 10 being the most distressed or stressed out a person can be. And we are going to begin tapping on the side of the hand, repeating after me out loud if you can, or inside your mind, setting yourself up to connect to the topic that you want to improve. And I'll just say that it is always more powerful if you can repeat the statements out loud, but it will still work just fine if you are repeating those statements inside your mind. All right, repeating after me. Even though I am experiencing this stress, I choose to accept myself. Even though I am experiencing stress, I choose to accept myself. Even though I am experiencing this stress, I choose to accept myself. And now we will tap through all of the points, starting at the top of the head. Keep tapping on that point until we move to the next one, and I will guide you along the way. All right, repeating after me or with your own words. All of this stress, all of this stress, all of this stress, all of this stress. Feeling so much stress, so much stress. All of this stress, all of this stress. Feeling all of this stress. Okay, good. Pause now and rate yourself again. And if your number did not go down, that's okay. At this point, you would do another round of tapping and repeat as necessary until you are down to a more comfortable level. Again, this is the clinical protocol for EFT tapping, and it's very simplistic, but it can also be very effective. And much of the information that I've shared with you today has come from Dr. Peter Stapleton's book, The Science Behind Tapping, which I highly recommend for anybody who wants to know more about the science and the incredible scientific research studies that have been published on EFT tapping. Tomorrow, I will introduce you to my personal method for tapping, and I will teach you how to create your own custom and powerful script so that you can start tapping even more effectively on your own topics. I recommend that you repeat this lesson a few times so that you can become very familiar with the new tapping points. They will eventually become second nature to you. You'll have them memorized easily, and you will discover which tapping points are your favorites. Okay, be sure to drink lots of water after this lesson, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. And thank you so much for tapping with me today.